Hi everybody, welcome to EverCast. No intro video today, unfortunately.
Hello, hi everybody.
Hello.
It's the one thing I can never get to work. Hi, welcome to episode 69, Project Gorgon. Welcome everyone. Tonight we are going to be talking the Kickstarter for Project Gorgon and our thoughts and how things we think that EverQuest Next and Daybreak should look at to kind of maybe not steal but kind of get ideas from and that they can expand upon that we saw in Project Gorgon. So I'm Flatus, and our hosts tonight are Tanlin and Lucy.
Hello.
First up, you got the news.
Yeah, normally I would host the call, but my internet is on the fritz, and I have to get it fixed, and it's going to take a little while. So Flatus is taking over for us. So when things go bad, it's on him.
Yep, like right now.
Oh, what could go wrong? What's going wrong?
I touched things. I'm sorry. We're good. You guys can keep talking. I'll fix it.
Well, the first bit of ECast news that we have is really the I don't know what you would call it. It's the final shoe falling or whatever they call it. Smedley is leaving Daybreak to start his own company. We reported I think it was last month, that he was taking a leave of, taking some time away from the company, and when he was going to come back, he was going to go into a as yet undetermined position within the company. But evidently last week on his Facebook, he updated it that he was CEO of a new company. And so, yeah, Smedley is going to try doing his own game company for a while.
Maybe this is better? For him?
Test?
Hello?
I can hear you guys. Does the stream not hear us? Is that a problem? Did I pull Tanlin? That has happened before.
Hold on. I'm not sure if it's going to be a game company or not.
Hi. Better? I'm trying.
Let me go see the link that we had. But I know it was CEO at a new company. So it just says new company. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think that Smedley would take over as the CEO of a non-game related company, though? I don't. It could. Well, if it's not a game related company, I think that it is going to be something to do with the Twitch integration, like that sort of live streaming of video games into the gaming space. Because that seems to be something he was equally as passionate about as video games. Your guys' what do you think? It's got to be related to video games somehow.
I would think so. If it wasn't,
I would think so, but it's a good question.
Damn good question. So yeah, you know what? We'll ask around and we'll see if we can get some further information. I have a feeling though that that nobody is going to be willing to talk about it until they're ready to like do the big reveal, because you'd want it to be kind of, what do they call it? That's like a Twitter thunderclap. You'd want it like bam, here it is. Here's everything. This is what we're doing, and this is what we're calling ourselves in. And so they're not even giving us the name of the company. Like literally, his Facebook is like started working at a CEO new company, and so they're not even giving us the name. So we'll probably see all of that information out at the same time. So, and then the next little, the pretty significant bit of ECast news is that EverQuest 2 is calling it a prison server. They're starting a new server that it's a locked server. It's a one-way ticket. You get moved into it. You can't move back out of it. Once you're moved into it, you have to play on it. And it is for all the people found breaking the rules, the trolls, the griefers.
And you can voluntarily move there if you want, but it's a one-way trip.
Like Australia.
Yeah, right, but with a free-to-play account, like if you wanted to play on that server, I could see people being like, well, I'm going to create this other account and I'm going to have them play specifically on that server. And the reason why I think that some people will do it that way is because I know, like I talk about that first text-based MMO experience that I had. They did the same thing where they created their own server that had no rules, no moderators, you couldn't complain about griefers or anything, and people legitimately wanted to be that way because they would write scripts and they'd write bots that were against the normal terms of service, and so they would voluntarily play on that just to test out how good their bot and their scripting and their coding was on the real test or on the real realms. And that's why, when I first saw that EverQuest 2 was creating the prison server, it's like the people that are going to get the most out of it are the people that are like, how good is my program? How good is my bot? How well does it do what I've written it to do?
I thought the island or the prison island or server was for all access members. Like if you're an all access member caught cheating, they put you there. So to continue to play at all.
Sort of. Here's the thing. It's a one-way ticket for your account, and if you were free to play before, now you have to pay to play.
Yep.
So
see, I get that. I get that. But when there's no when the barrier to play in the game is so low, you just like, okay, that free to play account has been banned. I'll start a new one. Until they start locking things down by IP, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna matter.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, totally. Especially like those especially the people that aren't interested in, like, they're not designing bots. They're just basically people that troll other people and cause grief and everything. It's like, and you know, they keep getting the warnings like, dude, you need to change your behavior, or I say dude, but could be either like you are not creating a good game environment for other players and you need to fix that. And you tell them like, hey, take you know, here's your 3-day ban, come back and see if you're ready to play. Now it's just like, oh, peace, goodbye.
I personally have friends who had to be renamed, and I'm not going to say which game it was, but had to be renamed multiple times for name violations. It's like, why?
Free Realms?
I'm not naming which game it was.
Oh, let's see. I've had people get their I think the most innocent, and the reason why I bring it up is because it's the most recent one, and it was fairly innocent. It was Tits McGee had to rename her character.
Oh, the poor baby.
They could have went with Busty St. Clair, then they probably would have gotten away with it. Simpsons joke? Nobody? Alright, just
Pussy galore. Come on, it's like
it is an iconic Bond character.
Go to the prison server. Go right now, both of you.
We're sorry.
Don't ever give me that power. Don't ever, like, it. I never, ever, ever should be a GM for any of Daybreak's games. Could be like, ban, 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 ban. Go. Get out. I'd do it. I'm on the edge.
okay.
Ah, jeez.
All right, so I think that Flatus has a little bit of other gaming news related to Final Fantasy and Star Trek.
I do. I have a lot of news actually. First, I'll try to pile through this. Final Fantasy 14 has two events going on right now. One is the Moonfire Fair, and that's been going on since August 11th. It'll end September 7th, and then the 2-year anniversary of Final Fantasy 14 is coming up as well, starting the 27th, going until September 7th. So log in. There's a bunch of in-game events. If you've played Final Fantasy XIV, you know that the events are not the same every year. They're not cookie cutter. They change every year, so there's new stuff you can get for your characters and costumes and emotes you can get. So go and log in and get that. Star Trek Online has just finished its 5-year story arc on its last season, and yes, Star Trek Online is still a game that exists and is still going on and still popular for Star Trek fans. And they're starting their next season in October. So if you are a Star Trek fan and have played Star Trek Online, you might want to go check that out in October. I am not the biggest Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek, but not the biggest Star Trek fan.
At least when they decided that they were going to put out more movies, they didn't be like, oh, and those other, that our MMO that supports our IP is now, just, it's fanfic, basically.
At least, yeah, they didn't do that.
Yeah, they still like write for the Star Trek world as if it is part of the Star Trek world, which is awesome.
They do, and from what I understand, a lot of old cast members come in and do
the
voice work for the Star Trek Online game. So, like I said, if you're into that, go check that out. FunCom recently has been searching for investors. Oh.
Fun fact.
Yes.
I recently saw somebody retweeted a tweet or tweeted a tweet or tweeted something, or it was on Twitter, that Commander Riker is now 63. How old do you feel right now?
Pretty old.
But did you see Patrick Stewart's new television show?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's a comedy. He's like, instead of a midlife crisis, he is having an old age crisis. Like he's a reporter and he's going through a divorce or something like that. And so you see him drinking and okay, hold on. Patrick Stewart doing a line of coke.
I saw that. Yeah.
Show.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like,
it's crazy.
What? Don't typecast him. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, I mean, when you reach a certain age, fuck it.
Why not?
I mean, it's gonna kill your brain cells. How many do you have left?
Yeah, screw it. When I'm 73, I'm just gonna do a mountain of coke and just shoot a bunch of speed. Just do that. Go crazy. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I mean,
And okay, so this FunCom thing, like Flatus shared the link with me, and I don't have the technical financial know-how to understand what they're asking for, but it looks like they're
a lot.
The people that own a stake in the company are saying like, you need to pay us back by X date, and so FunCom is going out and looking for more money.
Yep, that is the actually that's everything. Actually, yeah, they right now they got an extension from KGJ Enterprises or International, I think, and so they have currently they got an extension on that payment, and they are desperately finding funding. So that means that certain games like The Secret World, Anarchy Online, Lego Minifigures Online, and a host of other games may be in trouble. Hopefully not. We would like to see money come back into that company, see games like The Secret World and stuff to continue to create games. But if not, it's going to be sad to see those go if they don't get bought out by other game companies, as we know that tends to happen. And it looks like we almost lost Hanlon for a second. Almost.
Yeah. Again, my internet is. My router is on its last legs. I've been told I need to replace it, but I was told that this morning, so I haven't been around to get that done.
next on the news, we have for MOBA players out there, especially the Dota 2 players. There's a cartoon that I love, and I'm pretty sure maybe a lot of you out there love it as well. It's called Rick and Morty, and Rick and Morty for Dota 2 players, you have now a announcer sound pack that is the characters from Rick and Morty announcing your game for you, which I think is one of the kind of the more fun things you can do with Dota 2.
Genius.
Oh yeah.
It is, what it is it's genius. I don't play MOBAs that often, but I watched the video the product preview of it, and it's awesome. And I can see them doing a lot more with that. I would love to see more games do that type of thing, where you could buy a custom game pack to play back sounds like triple kill. You know.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
I wish they had one for Baldur's Gate.
Like a Rick and Morty one, or
what?
Rick and Morty, or a different, like anything, like a specific.
No, I wish they had a soundboard for Baldur's Gate.
Oh, okay.
So many quotables in that game.
I would actually. We could probably find it. It's the internet. Someone out there has one. Audience, you're free. Go do that. All right, and next, if you haven't heard this has probably been one of the bigger pieces of news coming out this week besides Smedley. Star Citizen refunds over 1,200 customers. If you haven't seen the news, there's been a lot of question of what they've been doing over there at the Star Citizen game.
Besides pissing people off?
Yeah, besides that. Without making people angry, they are giving refunds currently, and they said they have no legal, because it is a Kickstarter game, so they don't have any legal obligation to actually give you a refund, but they said they are taking them as a case-by-case basis, so if you're in dire times, or honestly, or truly super-duper, I guess, unhappy, they will review your case and see if you deserve the refund. So... they still at the end, even with 1,200, we're not sure what type of money that's being back already, but they had $85.7 million or $87.5 million, something like that. So that's a lot of money for a game that's set a very high goal for itself. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about goals and setting them tonight.
Yeah, we might. There's another bit of ECast news that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. We might actually dedicate a whole show to Star Citizen at a future date, depending on how things go.
Yeah.
Just because it had its own independent Kickstarter, I won't call it a Kickstarter. They had their own independent crowdfunding through their website run. Then they went to Kickstarter, and then they continued to ask for money through their website, and that's been going on for like 2 years now, and so there's a lot of questions, but the potential for that game is still all there. There's just still a lot of questions out there, and
so we got that. Hopefully, I really want them to not screw up, but I would feel bad for people that put the money in that. Next up, LinkRealms. Closed beta starts August 29th. LinkRealms is a game that I would say looks a little like it's taking cues from UO. So if you were a sandbox MMO player before EverQuest, and you played Ultima Online, LinkRealms.
Technically, we can all be sandbox MMO players before EverQuest Next.
So I'll put the link in chat. LinkRealms, you can go sign up for the closed beta and see if you can get in by August 29th and check it out if that is what you are into. It is very old school feeling. The art style is pretty okay. Go check it out if that's what you're into. Next up, let's see. Next week we are talking WildStar, and then we are taking a day off for Labor Day. So next week we will talk about WildStar Core, WildStar going free to play.
And the three of us have all played. Well, Lucy's played WildStar. Flatus played it when it launched, and I was listening to Omid talk about it on Theory Forge on Friday. And based on what he was saying, I spent the $10 and bought the game on Amazon, and it'll be here next week, and I'll play it a little bit before the show.
I actually just recently bought it and started playing it, and I'm mostly having fun with their character editor because I do that.
No, I did. I spent a lot of time in the character editor myself, and I know
Do
there's
you
actually a
have
lot
a
more.
Word document with screenshot pictures and the codes attached to each individual build that you enjoyed?
No, no, but in Final Fantasy, I can just save them, and that's what I keep them on.
EverQuest 2 has their own save file where you can just like name them and save them within, but WildStar has like a code that you generate that corresponds to the character, and I definitely like saved them and put them into a Word document with screenshot pictures. So I'm like, I like this Orin, and I like this Orin, and I like this Orin.
You want to know what's funny is because like Tamlin, the name I go by on the show, and the name that I have a character named Tamlin in almost every MMO I play. He's got characteristics. He's human, male, blue eyes, black hair, long, at least shoulder length, with a beard. And so every game I play, I try to, I use the character editor, and that's what I should do. Is see, like, get screenshots of all the Tamlins in all the different games and say, like, see, don't they all look about the same?
I kind of have the same sort of idea, because basically if you play any game ever and there's a redhead option, everyone plays a redhead. So I completely avoid both redheads and blondes, and I just make brunette characters.
I'd do that. I'd go for that.
Yep. And I see that Legendary and Neurotoxin is talking about Fig in the Twitch chat, and that was definitely one of the things that we have in the ECast news. As we're talking about Project Gorgon, which is a Kickstarted game, which is finishing their Kickstarter campaign tonight, and we talked about Star Citizen. One of my chief complaints about Kickstarted games is that there's no equity investment and you can look at products, more products than video games. But products like when we backed if you had backed the Oculus Rift, they took your money, they gave you what your Kickstarter reward was, but then they turned around and they sold their company for like $2.5 billion to Facebook. And like the company took all this money for free from crowdfunding, and then just made boatloads of money on the back end of it by being bought out by Facebook. And at the time, that was like one of the reasons why I said, like, I just don't want to deal with kickstarting any games anymore. I would rather do equity investing, where I'm not just giving them money and they're going to give me like a code for a video game, or they're going to give me a sample of their product that is a prototype for what they're going to use the money to develop as the actual product. I would love to be an investor in the traditional sense, in that if I gave them $100, then they, if that $100 now is worth $1,000, I invested it, and it returned to me worth more than what I had originally paid into it. So the company is called Fig, and I will link the article on Polygon. I think it's a good step in the right direction, but I don't think it's a perfect step forward. And I won't know until they launch officially and have a product that I back, and I see how it all works. But it seems like a good idea. It's what I asked for, so I shouldn't really complain.
All right.
That last bit
of news. Tamlin won a copy of Sword Coast Legends. not big.
Which is cool, because I watched the live stream on the recording from like 2 weeks ago, and then they did another one on Thursday, and it happens that they were doing the live stream during my work hours, so I can't always get a chance to watch live streams at work. But for whatever reason, it was my lunch break. My boss was okay with it, so I sat down and watched the Twitch live stream, and they ended it with a little Q&A, and they asked the question, and the question I got right was the fighter from the first live stream that I watched. What was his name? And I got it mostly right, not 100% right, but they were like, close enough. Here, have a game. Have a copy of Sword Coast Legends.
I was pretty excited when they just answered some of my questions that I was, basically putting into chat. So, I mean, yours is obviously like way better. You want a free copy of the game, but I already have the game, so I guess I don't need 2 copies. I guess.
All right, so that is all the ECast news, and so finally moving on to Project Gorgon. Project Gorgon is an independently funded and built MMO that's a really, really tiny niche MMO. Their Kickstarter campaign is going on currently right now. It ends in like 2.5 hours. And Flatus was the one who first pointed it out. I played a little bit of it. I deleted my cow character though.
That cow isn't there anymore.
Yeah, the cow, you can't milk Tanlin anymore. The cow is no longer there.
I also have made a character and played around with it.
So right now you can play for free in a pre-alpha gameplay, but after the Kickstarter, I think they in the Q&A they said a week, but you could probably be like, it could be a little bit earlier, could be a little bit later, but it's not going to be free to play much longer after the Kickstarter. It's going to be a subscription game. They're doing they did 2 previous Kickstarters, neither which one succeeded. This is their 3rd Kickstarter. They set the goal really low. It was like what, $20,000 or $30,000. They're up to $70,000. And since I started, like I turned on their Kickstarter website about 2 hours ago, and they were just over 70,000, and now they're up to 72,000. So in the last 2 hours, they probably picked up another $2,000, which is
it wasn't even at 70 when I looked earlier this evening. So that's $4,000 just in the past like 4 hours.
Yeah, and that's those people wait until the last minute to like, do I want to, or do I not? And finally, bam, they make the pledge to back the project. For stretch goals, I like that they did this. They set a goal at $60,000 was their vampire Kickstarter, and then 65 was their party stretch goal.
Which you'll get today, I think.
Yeah, you'll get that today. But basically, they wanted to have a little cushion in case things like people back out at the last second. They didn't want to drop below and people not get the vampire because they didn't make the vampire Kickstarter goal. But they're well over that, so I don't see how they could, or I don't see them going back under that. Okay, the VI subscription is optional, and it's going to be $10 a month.
Yep, completely optional.
But it is going to be a buy to play. So you'll have to, so like if you don't get in on the Kickstarter buy-in, you'll have to buy it later on. It'll be for $40. And then there is an optional $10 a month VIP membership, which seems like very traditional, very straightforward way to finance an MMO.
What was it, a running success at 500 people?
No.
No?
Yeah, when I was listening to their Q&A, they were talking about like their population goals, like what they can do with so many people on their population. And yeah, this game will be a runaway success in the developer's mind if they have like 500 concurrent players. And that just like, blows my mind a little bit, because I've seen battles between factions in World of Warcraft that are like 200 or 300 players on one server in one zone.
And that's not including everybody else that was out questing, not in that zone, playing something else.
Right.
Yeah. So, you know what? Good for them.
And I think that's where I wanted to start the conversation. That they're like Pantheon, they know that they're going to be a niche game for a limited audience, so they try to stay true to what that audience expects. I'm completely okay with that. I think that's like, when you're going after a niche audience, you have to understand what they want and meet what they want, and don't ever like try and compromise to get a few more people playing the game. because the assumption is that if you change things around to get a couple more people coming in, then part of your core game players will be like, that no way, that breaks my, you know, the fidelity that I think that the game needs to have, and so I'm out.
And I said this, I think, when I first discovered Project Gorgon, so if I repeat myself, sorry. But if you haven't heard it, yay. I think the game where and I'll say it from the aspect there, because it failed. The first time I had a Kickstarter, it didn't do so hot. It wasn't promoted correctly. It didn't have the kind of like no, it wasn't. It kind of was glanced over by a lot of people. So when it was coming down to the last, I think when we finally mentioned it on our show, it was 24 hours, maybe less than 24 hours left at that point. I'd mentioned Project Gorgon. I was like, everybody go try it out, and they it was never like, even if we had the ability to have, if everybody in chat gave them the amount of money they needed, there was no way they were still gonna make it at that time, without everyone like reaching in their pockets and dropping like $1,000. So, which was sad because because I felt that it was the little MMO that could, in a lot of ways. It may not do everything right in our eyes, but it's doing a lot. It's one of those things where it's like they know that they have a playground that they can take any risk and be as innovative as they want, and no one's gonna say like, well, you're copying WoW or you're copying this, and it's like, but they're like, we'll just do whatever we want, and if people like it, cool. And I think once that the word got out, and because a little, if you didn't read the background, when their first Kickstarter failed, the creator of the game was gonna cancel Project Gorgon at that point. He was like, we don't have the money, we can't keep it going. And the people, as soon as people started finding out, people were reaching out. It's like, no, I'll give you money. Just how do you want to take it? I just didn't know there was a Kickstarter. So, you know, I guess you have to wait a period of time before you can go back on a Kickstarter, and the game has grown in popularity since then. Like I said, you can go try it out for free still. And now they went from asking for $20,000 up to they got almost $80,000. And a better page, I think, on the Kickstarter. It sold the game a lot nicer in aspects, because there was, they had a video, but it wasn't as good as explaining the game as this one was. They got help from a YouTuber called the Hive Leader this time around to explain the game.
And when we were taking breaks and playing break videos for EverCast, we've played several Hive Leader videos. So definitely, like Flatus and I are both kind of follow along with like the YouTube videos, and he's definitely like, when he says that you've got a good thing and that he's willing to help, that's one of the things that like gave me like a second hope for this game. Like, oh man, I hope that it's successful. They've got people behind it now.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that drew me to the game is that the community in the game, it's there. It may not be like a WoW community or a Final Fantasy community where there's there's thousands of people on a server, but the community-wise though, like if you have a question or you're like you're stuck on something, like if you ask chat's generally just like, hey man, you know, like if it's a riddle, they may like give you a hint. They may not tell you what the answer is. They may just tell like, hey, you might want to look over in this direction of the map. There may be something over there of interest to you, and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. I think that's kind of like a lot. And they promote role playing in the game. Like, oh, you died and you have a like you're slightly dizzy and you can't speak great. They're like, use it for, and they have you to say that in the corner. If you hover, it's like, use it for role playing purposes. I was like, that's kind of great. Like you can go and chat and be like, I don't know, where am I again?
Yeah. So we asked amongst ourselves, like, what makes the game compelling? And one of the things that I wrote down is that there is literally a system for everything. And listening to the Q&A from the lead developer, like, every time someone proposed like a what about this feature or that feature, he always he was in the background, he's thinking of a system in place, like fast travel. Like if you have an ability that recalls you back to your in-game house, it's not just going to be like I click my Hearthstone and I am teleported there. I don't just click the spell recall in my spell book and bam, I the cast time goes off, I'm there. He's thinking about, well, is there going to be a skill check involved? If you fail your skill check, what happens? You just stay in place. Somebody asked him about the helmet animation, like being able to turn off the helmet animation, and he's not thinking about like, oh, we'll just add that in there and no one can see your helmet. He's thinking of like, okay, well, if you turn your helmet off, are you actually wearing it? Is there going to be like some sort of like hide helm spell that you'll have to cast on yourself and maintain on yourself? And there was one other example of a system that he was thinking of when people were asking him questions, and I thought that was pretty great because it allows developers to create situations where skills are interconnected in ways that the players don't know about, and the players can discover like you learn in a like that. Maybe the screen pops up. This is not in the game. This is just me theorizing that that you're playing the game and it pops up that you've learned an ability, and you have no idea what you did to learn the ability, but now you know that you have it, and you talk to other players like, well, was it my sword skill or was it my axe skill? Was it a shield skill? What did I do to learn this new ability? And those are always, I think that those are really compelling parts of the game. Is like as you're playing, you're discovering these skill systems that are working in the background.
I can actually, I'll say this. I had sent Tanlin a picture earlier this week. I was playing Gorgon, and I created a new character because I was like, it's been a while. Let me go back and create a new character and just remind myself of kind of like the starting area before I go venture out in the world. I do that. I start the starting area up, and I go through, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see if that cow's there. I want to become a cow, right? Cow's not there. There is a skeleton now with a giant head, and I died. And it cursed me with a giant head. I cannot wear head armor any longer, but I have a plus 25 to defense now, which is better than most of the early on stats for the helmets. And my character has and it's physically in game that my giant head is now bigger than everyone else's. So now I run around and sit next to people, and it's like everybody else normal head, giant me next to them. And I'm like, I love this game. There are parts in this game I just love, and this is great. I'm like, my character's stuck there, and I can never wear a helm. I have a helm in my inventory, and I cannot wear it for the life of me.
Along the lines of what you're saying about skills and how they interact with other skills, I found this really cool skill called calligraphy that lets you inscribe little inscriptions on your gear. Basically, the most fun I had in that game was taking my amulet that gave me +1 to unarmed strike, that said that it was an amulet with a little fist on it. Guess what I named it? Just guess.
Amulet of Smite?
Oh, Tanlin, no, you have such a clean mind. No.
Oh!
Amulet of Fisting. Amulet of Fisting.
I have screenshots.
Did I get it? Do I get the cookie?
I was playing with Kerman at the time, Kerman in chat, hi Kerman, and he literally was like, this is why we can't have nice things. This is why you can't do this in any other game. And I was like, listen, they let me name it.
Well, I want an Amulet of Fisting. +1 to fist, +1 to unhand armor combat. I don't care what it's called.
Oh.
I love that. One of my favorite skills that you can level up is psychology, and that like the attacks are like.
Don't get me started on that shit skill.
I can damage somebody by talking about their mother.
Can you kill monsters by
Yes.
just talking bad about them?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
My character that I made actually had unarmed. So, because I found a bunch of gear that gave me bonuses to my unarmed skill, so obviously that's what I was going to use, and you can't have anything else in your hand, so you need a second, like, you need your second action bar filled with something that doesn't require, like, a weapon. So I picked psychology thinking, hey, I have a bachelor's in this. This'll be funny. No. No. You basically just kill people with your mind. It's not like, I got an ability called Soothe, and I was like, oh, maybe it's a heal. Like, that would be nice. Like, it's just, maybe it's a self. No. You literally say something nice to the target to catch them off guard and do psychic damage.
Yep. It's kind of great.
But it allowed me to be a trash-talking monk, so.
It's like kung fu with a quick wit. Yeah, and I was also going to bring that up too. There's no classes in the game. You basically your gameplay is developed by the skills that you choose to practice. You use your skills, you get better at them, and that kind of defines your game's play style. And that is another compelling feature in the game, that you can kind of like Lucy was just through chance discovered that she was going to be, focus on unarmed fighting and psychology, but you could choose like other combinations of skills.
Kick you in the teeth and talk about your mama.
Yeah. Oddly enough, that was my first character's two set skills were unarmed combat and psychology.
Don't steal my shit.
But I had
that's my idea. No.
Okay. I'll do something else.
Yeah.
And from the Q&A that they answered, that they said that they don't expect anybody to be able to master all of the skills. Like the first 50 skill points in a skill tree will be the easy things, but as it goes, after you go past 50, it's going to be harder to get. And they don't expect anybody to max out in multiple trees. But if that were to happen, they've already got like plans, like, okay, so maybe we can do stuff like specializations after this point where we have many people that are like, well, I've maxed out all the skills. What do I do now?
I kind of like that you can get all of the skills on one character. Both because you don't need an alt, so you never have to reroll another character. And two, because it gives me hope for EQN, because if that's their goal too, it's like, I can just play this one character and do whatever I want with this one character.
Yeah. And as we talk about like what we can take away from Project Gorgon and kind of see like it rolled kind of into EverQuest next, before we get there, Project Gorgon isn't like the pinnacle of MMOs. There were some things that made the game not interesting as it could be. One of the big reasons for me that I was not very as compelled with the game as other ones is that I'm a graphical elitist. I have a machine that like just absolutely crunches graphics, and so I like pretty games. And Project Gorgon could be prettier. I know that's when they're even aware of it, and they've said as much. Like they're going through and they're passing through their textures and making things look better. But at the moment, I put it personally at between EverQuest and EverQuest 2. It's a little bit up from EverQuest, but it's not as good as EverQuest 2.
EverQuest at launch or EverQuest now?
EverQuest now.
Some of their newer zones are nicer looking.
So Flatus, what about you? Where do you see that are areas that Project Gorgon could improve on?
Definitely the graphics. We know that they have plans to do that. So that is just a matter of time. Also, I think that making sure that they regularly update the game. See, it may, unless they figure out a way to make it so that you have to do a lot of things. Like, we know that there's going to be lycanthropy and vampirism, so there may be like things you have to discover and figure out how to even get those skills, and some skills happen by chance. Not, to be cursed by like what I got with the giant head, or with Tanlin with the cow. That didn't happen to everybody, because Tanlin, we were in a group and Tanlin was killed. I was killed by the cow, and so was Tanlin. I didn't become a cow. Tanlin did. So not everyone gets cursed. So, and you can level up those animal abilities too. So I guess, trying to figure out a way to that the game has longevity and making things new, and maybe somehow adding new skills or continue the skill trees in some sort of way that you can swap out spells, because they keep it very, very simple. 2 bars, it goes to 5, and I'm not sure if things, like, they power up, they level up as well the more you use them, so... and if for whatever reason they can figure that out or keep implementing a couple of skills, 'cause right now I don't think we know what their content update cycle will be. So if it's every
aren't they the game company that said that they're gonna do patches and they might not tell you everything that they're patching in?
Exactly.
And I love. By the way, I love that and I hate that. The idea that they're going to update stuff and not tell you not tell you what it is. On the other hand, I kind of hate it because like it might be never found that, like, hey, we added this whole zone and we didn't tell anybody and it got unseen.
I agree with you, because I think we also talked about that. We talk a lot with each other during the week, just in case you don't know that. But I had mentioned to Taylor that Blizzard had
They don't talk to me.
Well, you weren't. Now you were.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You're gonna be You're gonna be so annoyed. But like, give it 2 weeks. You're gonna be like, I want out of this group, but I can't leave now.
Challenge accepted.
Oh yeah, we can do it. But in like Warcraft, Blizzard has stated that there was a point that they had a bunch of undead, and not mean like the Forsaken undead, but like ghost quest givers, and that a lot of them have not been found. And ever since they did Cataclysm, we don't know if they are still there, if they continue to put like ghost quest givers in the game and then them not be seen. I would like to think so. But if they I miss that. Like games should do that. I think that Project Gorgon adding stuff and not telling anybody it's not there is kind of awesome, because that means if you're the very first person to discover it, that you get this
right. You get the sense of accomplishment and be able to gloat to the server that I found the hidden thing and the hidden place. And I think that that's a great thing for a niche, and I think that a lot of MMO players are actually kind of looking for that type of gameplay. And you're absolutely right about, like, I think that was one of the things that Blizzard lost when they redid Azeroth when they launched Cataclysm, because their philosophy for zones was that you should go into a zone and you should quest through the zone, and every zone should tell a story or a part of a story. And they did that, and they delivered it, and so that it feels like you're going through the zone and you're actually getting the story. And the problem is that we'll call it the Mancrick problem. That every time you roll a new alt, the quest givers give you the same quest, and in the same quest giver will tell you to go find his wife. For 5 years, he will give that quest out to every new player, and it's like, dude,
she needs to stop wandering off.
Well, and I'm hoping that Project Gorgon stays away from that type of questing system, so that it's not like you're a new player and every time you play a new character, not that you're going to be re-rolling a whole lot of alts, because you don't have to have like this whole your whole character select screen filled with new characters and alt characters. But the idea that the game is going to be out for 2, 3, 4 years, and there's going to be this quest giver in the middle of the city telling you to go solve a problem that has been solved like 1,000 times, like it gets it makes the world seem very old and very, I don't know, uninteresting.
It does. I found that with the starting cave again. They did some changes to the starting cave, but did the starting cave again. And I ran through, and it's the same thing. Like the guy, you need to help create that rejuvenation potion for the guy. But at the same time, it's essential, because if you don't do it, you don't get that. You don't get the recipe for that potion. You can bypass it and go straight to the top and start questing. Running around up there. But it's interesting because where we have the Mankirk issue is that quest giver is just there for XP, where this guy wasn't there for. I mean, it gave me I guess it helped me in some sort of way because it wasn't for XP. It was for a skill. So it wasn't on the basis of I need the XP so I can level up. It was on the basis that if I leave this cave, I never get psychology, because if I don't give him the rejuvenation potion, I never learn the psychology skill. So if I don't get the psychology skill, I never can unlock the psychology tree and go down that way. It's the same with the. So it's like I want to do the quest like again and again because I always want to unlock psychology. I mean, I don't need to if I have one character that can do everything, which is my favorite reason for Final Fantasy XIV. It kind of, if you open everything up to one character, you never have to go back and level through it again, unless you're leveling with somebody new. But do you really need to do that either? Because you can just put yourself on 2 skills that you want to level up, go to the cave and help somebody out, run around with them, and level your skills up while you're down in there. So I think maybe they've already solved the problem. Like, I can understand maybe you leave and come back, but the game is kind of easy to pick up, so I just did it just to see if they did any changes to the cave and kind of refresh my memory of what was like the starting area. So
I didn't want to be stuck as a cow, so I did. The easiest way to fix that was to
delete the cow.
Yep.
Fun fact: drinking milk is actually a very good buff.
It is. It's great.
That's why everybody kept running by and milking me.
It was so. Listen, you gave a great buff. I'm not gonna lie. 2 tugs on the udders, and I drank a glass of your milk. I was gone. I was good for the day. I was good.
I need an adult.
We all need an adult.
I like the idea of an all-cow guild.
Called Move Over.
I call it whatever. Just I want to see the cow raid some dragon
Movers
boss.
and milkshakers.
Yep.
Oh God, that was awful. Puns are awful.
They turned it on the dragon, right? The dragon is the one flying overhead, grabbing the cattle, taking it off to his cave, eating the cows all the time, and all of a sudden the cows are like, "That's it, we've had it. Charge!" Kill the dragon because we're all cows.
Many brave of us cows have become burger that day.
I love burgers.
Oh, they're great, aren't they?
I still don't eat red meat.
What? Really? Ah, but it's so good.
It is. I like burgers stuffed with stuff like cheese and bacon. Because then it's like a little meat pocket that you get to bite into, and there's gooey goodness on the inside.
Right. All right. So, the takeaways that we can see in Project Gorgon for EverQuest Next. One is the classless system that allows you not to have to roll in all every time you want to try something new. That's great.
Oh, I have one to add to that actually.
Oh, go ahead.
I will say this right now. I didn't like Project Gorgon. It wasn't my thing. But I really liked, one, their classless system, like Tanlin said, and a lot of the other features that you guys have talked about. And I really actually liked their quest journal. It was really unique. Like when you open up your quest journal, it will have your active quests that you're on, that you actually have to like talk to NPCs to get and actually like listen to them. I know, it's different and it's new. It's okay.
What?
I know, listening to NPCs when they talk. What? I liked that too. But it also had a stuff to do tab, and it kind of gave you like sort of like little hints as to maybe you could learn something cool from this NPC. And if you wanted a spoiler, if you didn't want to figure out yourself, you could click a hint button and it would give you more information. But if you're like me and I'm like, I can do this, I know how to MMO, let me just figure it out for myself, you had that option. And another cool feature is it had like a little notepad tab where you'd literally take your own notes for your quests.
So we could see the Rosong being something like that, right? Like it would have like the quest that the game has given you. Like here is a task that you have agreed to do, and then it could have like And if you're looking for some other things to do, maybe you should try going back and checking this or checking this or checking this. And your row song is basically being your adventure journal on what you could do.
I please. If any Daybreak EQ landmark, I don't really care what game you're working on. If you're in chat hiding, go download Gorgon, play around with their thing. Go look at that. Please tell me Rosong's gonna be like that, because that'd be fantastic.
And tell me Rosong's gonna be cooler, because it has some really cool features, but it could be too bad. It could be
yeah. No, it's just like look at it and be like, all right, we can do it. We're doing this, and it's gonna be great. Look behind you. I should not read chat. I just look over, like, look, I was about to look behind him. Like, is there like a scary clown behind me? That'd be terrible. I guess where Gorgon could be not interesting is if you get lost. Like, if you don't know where to look and you can't find the tips, thing, or you, if you're just not the person, because I feel like a lot of MMO players need guidance, and I'm not trying to say that in a bad way. I'm just saying that I feel that the mentality, like, I think MMO games have gotten to the point where in EQ and early Warcraft, like, the quests were very vague, and you had to learn like certain words or certain actions would like complete parts of the quest for you, and I think we've gotten away from that, where you stopped using a lot of this, and now it's just go kill 10 of those guys and just come back and I'll give you some coins. You're like,
just
okay.
follow the area,
yeah,
the arrow that's on your map, because there's like you travel this direction for 50 meters, and there you will do the thing that you've been tasked to do. I'm like, okay, I'm not even thinking. I'm just like, oh, running over here. Do I need to kill? Are there mobs to aggro? Then I just kill them all. I wasn't supposed to kill them. What was I supposed to do?
We call that the bare butts situation on the show.
I hate the multiple forms of hand-holding that recent MMOs have adopted. 1, you get an NPC that gives you text. 2, you get a quest journal that basically is too long, didn't read. Sorry, just tell me the information. 3, you have a map that gives you little, like, dots, and you can mouse over them and be like, this quest mob is here. And then you can usually click on the quest and get a glowing arrow that points toward... Enough. We're not stupid.
So I know that I've been playing a little bit of ArcAge, and ArcAge definitely has all of those things that were like, man, it's the most hand-holding of early MMO quests type that you can find. But what I did like about ArcAge as compared to like Project Gorgon is Project Gorgon starts you off in a cave. Like, you're stuck in that cave until you find the way out. And I liked ArcAge in that, like, you go through the beginning type stuff where you're on the boat, but when it puts you on shore, you can run off in just about any direction, and there's nothing that like blocks you from going and exploring. And that's what I did the first time I logged in. I would love to be able to do that first. Like, don't throw me in a cave. And like EverQuest does that too, right? You start off in a cave and you have to get out of the cave.
EverQuest 1, yeah.
It depends. When it first started, no, you were just dropped into your home city. Now, if you log into EverQuest, it has like a tutorial cave, yes, but that wasn't original. It wasn't there really.
Okay, but I like those type of experiences. Like, throw me down in the middle of the city and let me run around and do the exploration that I want to do first. And then if I decide that like I want to go help out people, then I can go and help out people. And that's what I did with ArcAge. I created one character. I ran to the big castle that was off in the distance. I ran and tried to like, not exactly screen hack, but like wall hack to get on top of walls and see where all I could get my character to go and take beautiful screenshots. And then I'm like, okay, I've done enough of that. Now let me go to the starting zone to get the quest to, kill 10 rats and do all that stuff. And that's when I was like, oh my goodness, this is like literally go here, 10 feet in front of you is where you need to do the thing with the quest. And it was like, it pointed you the arrow. And I'm like, wow, I don't need all of that.
I think people who are entering MMOs now have already played an MMO. And if they haven't already played an MMO, They had a friend who got them into the MMO that they're playing right now and are probably showing them the ropes. You don't need that much hand-holding. You just don't.
Well, we talked about this like not on the show but before a show once, that one of my problems with like going through content in World of Warcraft as it is right now is that it's basically you start off in a particular place in the zone and you cannot advance to any other place in the zone until you finish off the quest at this particular zone. And so there's the reason that they do it is because they want you to flow through the story of the zone, so you can't jump ahead in the story.
But if every area has a story, then it doesn't matter.
Or we stop being, because that is the definition of a theme park on the rail, hop on the ride and ride the ride and then get off the ride type game experience. If you're going to call yourself a sandbox, don't put quests in the game at all. Just let the players run around and do things that they find fun and interesting to do and reward them for playing the game. And that's why I get rid of experience points. Just give them hey, if you use this skill, your skill in that your skill level in that particular skill goes up, and over time you develop into a type of cast, a type of character that is basically built off of the skills that you have been using. So if you have a fighter type archetype in your head, and so you solve all of your problems by swinging your sword and you get better at it, then guess what? That's what you're going to do. You're going to swing a sword. But if you're, if you want to be a support type class and you support other people doing it, then I don't know. It feels
Sorry, go ahead and finish.
To me personally, when you call yourself a sandbox MMO, that when you're developing your character just by playing the character the way you would like to is a better experience than arbitrary experience points that are thrown at you for completing arbitrary tasks. The second reason for that is because sometimes you get a quest that asks you to do something that you might find that your character would not do. And I'm going to point to one roleplay situation. I played a Blood Elf Paladin that didn't drink. I just didn't want my character drinking. And if you played Missive Pandera, if you did not drink, you could not advance in the story. And you were stuck. You actually had to drink as that character and get blackout drunk. I hated that, because it made me do something with my character that I did not expect that character would ever do. And again,
pretty sure that in the most drank category for my WoW character, it was, what's that? What's the one alcohol? No, it's the one from the Horde side that my Alliance character. I think it's like blood wine or something like that. It was like a blood elf.
Yeah.
No, because that's the one that you can get Alliance side. I had the one that was Horde side.
I see.
But based on what you were saying, by your character basically is what you do the most. My character is someone who touches things. Because I will literally just go around and be like, oh, there's a plate. I'm going to pick it up and put it in my inventory. Oh, there's a spoon. I put it in my inventory. Oh, there's some mushrooms. I picked this. Oh, there's an altar. I'm going to touch that. Literally, my character has a 1 in 5 million different skills because I just touch things.
That's pretty cool. It makes you think that you're playing a klepto, though. Here, let me pick it up, put it in my bag.
No.
Pick it up, put it in my bag.
You should see my Skyrim character. It's not just thieving, Diggs. Thank you very much. They didn't need those things, and the mushrooms were just there. They grew. Okay. What I really didn't like is I was wandering around the world, and there was an orange on the ground, and apparently I didn't have enough skill to pick the orange. What?
And you know what? If you have to start your foraging skill by picking up the mushrooms, I don't think I'll ever advance. I make little idiosyncrasy rules about the characters when I play them. My paladin was one that never drank. When I roleplayed, never drank, just not the thing that the character does. In most MMOs I play, I don't eat mushrooms because I personally, Tamlin as a person, hates mushrooms. And the idea that the figment of my imagination is eating and enjoying mushrooms is so distasteful. I'm like, nope, no.
Oranges are delicious.
They are, and I would be super disappointed if I had to eat mushrooms or I had to forage mushrooms to be able to get my foraging skill up high enough to be able to pick up an orange.
And apparently, you level up fishing by catching a crab on land.
Land crab.
Literally, there was like a little crab, and I'm like, "What's this?" And I went over and touched it because that's what I do. And apparently, it's like, "You have learned fishing." I was like, "I have fish." But apparently, you have to catch like 15 crabs before you're cool enough to actually catch a fish. And you have to catch the fish by getting in the water and basically just catching it with your hands. I didn't realize I was that skilled. But I am.
You're just in the water punching salmon with your fist. You're just like, come here!
Basically, yeah. I insulted its mother and then I punched it in the face. That's my fishing.
You're like the Mark Wahlberg of EverCast.
You insulted its mother. It turned out, looked at you, and it said, "What'd you say about my mom?"
Losing something. Say hi to your mother for me. Yep, that's what we got to.
So
people.
disappointed. So disappointed in the psychology skill. I'm just gonna put that out there. It's not even close to.
Oh, earlier I was Saga was in chat, and he. I agree with Lucy on the whole UI system. Just like, I don't think, there's no confusion. I agree.
Oh, the UI in Project War? Oh, it's awful.
No, not like how it could be used in for EverQuest Next. Like it should be that way. Like
the adventure journal, the quest log.
Yeah, the quest log.
I am no stranger to MMOs, but in Project Gorgon, when I got into the game and I was actually just like taking in the visual space and like trying to like figure out what my character does, you hover over the abilities down at the bottom, you know what I mean, to read what the tooltip was up in the right, like upper right hand corner. I didn't see it I don't want to talk about how long it took me to find it, but it wasn't like anywhere near the thing that I was mousing over.
Are you is it an option? Is that something that you can move around?
I don't know.
So is this where we wrap it up, guys? Answer some questions. Talk a little bit more about the game.
Yeah, we can answer some questions. I can read those off. All right. Some of these we already kind of talked about, so I guess if we need to
just cover it again at the end.
Yeah. See if there's anything Project Gorgon specifically related. This one. Shouldn't quests from NPCs be based on need? Like, need firewood, animals are literally eating the farm crops. Deployed scout when missing, and you gotta find their corpse, etc.
Yeah, but that's if it's a static quest that the NPC always gives, that's when you run into the quote man-crick problem, where the guard, the captain of the guard that sending you out to find the missing scout is literally sending you out to find that scout for 2 or 3 years, and hundreds of players have played through the game and found that scout for him. And I'm not saying that it doesn't ruin my immersion, but it doesn't add to gameplay. It feels like a very It doesn't make a good sandbox MMO.
Exactly. In a game, especially where you may be relied on leveling multiple tunes for different class purposes, you're going to be stuck doing the same quests over and over again. Especially if you find the fastest quest route for you, so you're always going to have to go kill bears, and I've mentioned that in every MMO that I've ever played, other than Gorgon, because I've not found a damn bear in that game yet. That there is some sort of go kill bears quest.
And I think that because we're on the topic, I think that is the true challenge that is going to be for Project Gorgon, is that if you log into the game, what are you going to do while you're doing it? Because the fact that you don't need to have a lot of alts means,
it should be, when I log into Gorgon, it should be the point for any MMO. What am I going to explore today? It shouldn't be, how many quests do I need left to, it should be, what am I going to explore today? Am I going to work, unless I'm going to work on a profession, maybe I want to go into town and work on farming. I did that in Gorgon this week. I planted potatoes and leveled up farming, and I ran out of money before I could even get the cabbages. But I know there was a special relic outside that was like, I'm green and like it was a little riddle, and I was like, it's cabbages. And I was like, how do I get a cabbage? And I ran to the farm lady. I'm like, can I buy a cabbage? She's like, you don't have money for cabbages. I was like, can I grow a cabbage? She's like, okay. And I was like, and then I had to start that quest line and like that process. So even a quest line, like I knew what the answer was, but for me to get the answer and put it in the urn to light it on fire, I needed to like level up in something else. And I couldn't even do it because I ran out of money. And I was like, I don't know how to get money now. I spent it all on potatoes and chives. Sad.
First world farmer problem.
Probably no idea. Explorer at heart wants games made for him. Probably. Listen, if I have to log into a game, they give me a melon baller and say, hey, listen, we need some bear butts, I'm out. flip a keyboard, I'm out. I proved this when ArcAge launched, and I was like, hey guys, look, I think I was like not even 30 minutes on ArcAge, and there was like a kill bears quest, and I screenshotted it and put it on Twitter, because I was like, listen, you think it's, even games in Korea have me freaking killing bears. So...
I actually have one thing I kind of want to bring up, kind of related to what's going on in chat right now. Did you guys notice? I'm guessing that you didn't, because do you guys usually play male characters when you play a game?
Yep.
I do.
Did anybody else notice that there's almost 3 times as many customization options for the male human than any other race or gender?
I did not notice.
I did. I played around. Yeah.
You know what? And they might have addressed that in one of their Q&As.
They have.
The character customization is in its basic form, and they know that they're iterating on that in the future.
Yeah, like
I played a female character once in an RP server, and I was innocent because I didn't understand, and I learned my lesson.
I'm just saying, like, I know that time and resources are not an unlimited thing especially for indie dev teams, but literally almost 3 times as much customization as any other race or gender. Why didn't you spread that out a little bit?
Maybe because humans were probably the first on the art docket, and they probably...
Yeah, but even human females didn't get as much customization options as dudes.
But that's for every other race after that, though, it was just dead in the water. Like, I think beards for male humans, like, you have the option and you can click through beards, but no beard shows up on the face. So it's in very, very bare bones form, I think.
I would have taken beards for females, actually, at this point, because there's no way to tell who's who in the game. There's no nameplates above heads.
There isn't. You gotta turn that on, I think.
Everybody looks exactly the same. Everybody's wearing the exact same armor. Everyone. Everybody's red. All of them. Everyone.
I think in options you can turn on nameplates, if I remember correctly.
I could barely understand the UI.
It's also understandable.
That you can't turn off chat unless you know the secret, which is to click through until you find a chat that isn't being used and then turn off chat, or else every time somebody talks in the channel, the chat will pop up again.
I'm glad you're playing it now, because before this, when you logged into the game, if you, for whatever reason, got locked out, forgot your password, or like because I use separate passwords for work than than I use for like my gaming and stuff like that. And I think when I was playing Gorgon, I typed in my work password, and I was trying to figure out every password. And I never thought about using so I had to like email the guy, and I was like, hey, listen, is there any way you can give me my password? He's like, yeah, no problem. I know I need to add like the ability to like retrieve forgotten passwords. Yeah, like that wasn't even in the game yet. I think it is now, I think, but it wasn't even in the game at that point. So yeah, give it time.
It's a year and a half away from launch.
Yeah.
They're looking for feedback, so send them that feedback.
Yeah, let them know. And the cool thing is that they listen and they respond, and they do. I mean, that's one of the cool things, that like even if like you could be in the town hall meeting and like listen to what they have to say about changes and stuff coming up, and you know, they interact very well with the players of the game and the community.
Well, the things that I found really innovative about what they're doing, like everything's skill based, so you can customize your character's fighting style however you want, and the fact that you get to unlock skills and in EverQuest Next classes through the world and just exploring the world, as well as a cool quest journal, no need for alt, stuff like that. I'm gonna wait for a AAA MMO company to pick up those features. I just am. I'm not gonna pay an indie game because I know that it sucks to say the graphics aren't there, but if the world isn't beautiful and I can't be like, my character's so cool, look at her, I don't want to play it.
Fair point.
Yeah, you're
I'm not going to say you're wrong.
I can't say anything against that. I can't. I mean, I'm also on the same. Like, I can't. I agree with you, but I'm in the very much the boat of, like I like Shovel Knight, and it's a game that's like retro in design, like an old SNES game, so I'm very much, as long as the game is good and it's fun, then graphics be damned. But it's not your cup of tea, so it's to pull you in off the bat. It may need to be a little aesthetically pleasing, and you're like, all right, I can stick around a little bit, but this other crap's got to shape up.
If Kai Lest was here, she would say the same thing.
Yeah.
That the first thing, the game play experience for her starts with customizing her character, and if she has trouble customizing her character, she has trouble getting into the game. Right, so guys, we're 20 minutes after our hour mark. Again, we've been talking about Project Gorgon, the MMO. The current Kickstarter campaign ends in just under 2 hours. They're way over their initial funding goal. They've exceeded all of the stretch goals that they've outlined. They're at $72,000 with 2 hours to go. I'm going to link it one more time in chat.
While he links, I can answer those other two questions really quick. Oakmoon asked, what do you think will happen with that Smedley's leaving to create his own company? Nothing. I think that he's just going to go create his own company. They already have a new CEO temporarily in place, and that may be just fully replacing him. And then, is it true that EQ or EQ2 is creating a troll server? EQ2 it's a prison server, and both those things we mentioned at the top of the show. So if you missed that, catch it on YouTube, which will go up sometime between tonight and tomorrow.
And I will say that even though I don't like Project Gorgon, you should guys go look at the video, download the launcher, give it a try, play through it, see what you guys think, because it might be your thing. It might be your cup of tea where it just wasn't mine.
Yep. That being said, we will wrap it up for episode 69, Project Gorgon. Thank you all for coming. Next week, yet again, we're talking about WildStar going free to play. Like I said, GameStop has games you still get for $10. Go buy it and try it out before it goes.
When I bought it on Friday, there was you could buy a physical box copy through Amazon for $10, as long as you were willing to wait for the time for them to ship it to you. I'm gonna check that out real quick.
No, we're not putting me out to pasture. I'm fine.
Wouldn't that be Tanlin?
I deleted that. I am no longer the cow.
He needs that. No. He needs to be grass fed. I hear that's better for them.
The $10 box for WildStar, they're all sold out now. But you can buy it online.
You just download it for $20.
Exactly.
Still cheap. Get away can if you want to try that out. Thank you all. Go follow us on Twitter at EverCast_show on Twitter. We have Facebook at EverCast Show. We have YouTube at EverCast_show. You can email us all questions, and we will try to answer them here on the show, unless you ask us otherwise. That is at EverCast.show, if I remember. EverCast.show@gmail.com. And we have a Reddit page. It's reddit.com/EverCast Show. So you can find us on Reddit. If you want to bring up topics for WildStar, you can go on our Reddit and talk to us there. We can keep track of the conversation a little bit better than we can on Twitter. So go there and talk about it if you want, and we will see you all next week. And remember that the week following we will not be here. So thank you all for coming out. We will see you next week for episode 70. For now, good night, and I will camp us out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. See you all next week.